everyone, this is Sam from Wargamer Online. So we've been sent this massive army case. This is from Armybox. Now, we have had some counters from them in the past that we've shown on the channel. This is a new product that they've been working on. We obviously do use army boxes and cases for transporting all of our models when we're going to tournaments, or even just for storing them at home, just so they don't get covered in dust. So we're always pretty excited when we see something new. And this is obviously massive. It's definitely something that's quite special. I wanted to put it up here. It's quite difficult to show you the sheer scale of this other than me standing next to it. So I'm not a small guy, I'm quite big, but this is absolutely huge. I'll get the measurements again for that later on, so for anyone asking any questions you can see that. Okay, so there's two huge pouches on this, and I'm going to start from the outside and then we'll go inside and see what's inside it. Now, I've got my iPad. This is my iPad Pro, a pretty big iPad, you know, not the small ones. And whenever I go to the gaming, or whenever I go to a tournament, this is the thing that has all of my army lists and all of my rules on it. Now, there's not normally anywhere that I can put it other than taking a separate bag as well as my cases. One thing I absolutely love about this is the scale of this thing is big enough to put my iPad in perfectly. So I'm just going to show you that. So it is the exact dimensions to fit the iPad in. There's a little bit of, on the top, the height of it, it basically dips over, but it literally folds over, Velcro's in place. So it's big enough for an iPad, it'll be big enough for rule books as well. You've got two of these, so I mean, I brought my MacBook and my iPad in this on both sides, but you could have rule books on one side for the physical copies, you could have the digital versions of your iPad on here. You've also got things like your unit cards and all your profiles that are on there can go inside here, and anything else basically storage-wise can go inside that. On top of that, on the front of here, we've got the Armybox logo, but we've also got patches. So there is an area of Velcro on here where you can apply patches if you're in a club or in some sort of team, or you know, you just want to put your country's flag as a patch on the front of here. It goes along the top as well, so you could have your name on there so that you know that your case is easily identifiable, or even the army or faction that you're going to be keeping in here mainly, you could have that plastered on the front of here. Now, on top of that, there is a pouch here which is Velcroed, so I imagine you could get all sorts of accessories and add-ons. So long as they've got a Velcro backing, you can stick to this. So I'll just show you that. Now, it's not as big as the one that's on the side, but this is easily enough room for dice. Not necessarily a dice tray. You can fit the dice trays on the side of here. That's another thing for those. But you could fit dice inside here. You could put your tape measures. Anything a little bit smaller, like the measuring ranges and things like that, can all go in there, which is really nice. On the outside, we've got two straps. Now, you can't really see this very well. I'm going to have to take this off here. Now, this has got a strap on the top of here. It's quite a heavy case, I'm not going to lie. One of the downsides for this case for me is the weight of it. It is really, really heavy. You know, it's not something that you're going to be transporting to and from a tournament on foot. I mean, you could do it, but it's not going to be easy. You know, this is, in my opinion, it's designed to be put in the car, travel, and then take it out and move it into the club or into the tournament room, wherever you are. Not for carrying long distances, because even the actual weight of the case is quite heavy. Once you've got an army in there, it's even heavier. So that's one thing that you need to bear in mind. There is a shoulder strap, so as well as this handle on the top of here, there is a shoulder strap. So it's nice that there's two options for how you can hold that. And then we'll have a look at the inside. So it's good quality zip. Now, these come, mine came with cardboard, which I'm keeping because it locks the shelves on the front of here in place. So I'll move those out of the way for now. It's a good hard material. It's got some nice padding on the inside of here, so it's made out of some durable material. And when you get yours, it's going to be flat packed, so it won't already be built. Luckily, they sent us one of these fully built, so I didn't have to go through and do that. But basically, PVA or wood glue, and you go around and you put all the MDF together, and it slots into place. Now, you can see from here, there's 3 trays that it comes with. There are different options. Again, I'll put that up with some pictures and some of the Kickstarter options, because this will be going up on Kickstarter. I'll get all the information for that. But this comes with 3 shelves. There will be options for more or less depending on what you want to do. Now, it's a little bit dusty because I have been using this and I have been taking it to and from Phil's house, but it's a big steel sheet on the inside of here. And on the bottom, you can see it's MDF and it's basically stuck into place. It's quite a sturdy fixing onto the MDF shelf. On the front, it's got shelves that go all the way around the outside and the Armybox logo on the front. Now, one thing I will say, the steel isn't as... I've bought steel to use in my own boxes. So I've got some storage boxes that I've used in the past, and that stuff magnetizes, the stuff that I've got magnetizes a lot better than this. This is a weaker attracting steel. And there's positives and there's negatives to that. So the positive, and the biggest positive, is when I use the steel that I've got and I put my models onto it, I can't pick the model off because the magnet or the base will basically come off it. It's too strong. This is strong enough to hold the models down, but it's not too strong that you can't remove your model without leaving the base or the magnets behind. So that is the bonus of it. The negative of having the weaker attracting steel is that obviously, if you're taking this in transport and it does get knocked, even though it's in shelves and you know it's a fairly durable case, your models could not necessarily come off the steel, but they could slide across the steel or be dislodged. So positives and negatives to having the steel not as strong. Now, the other reason I'm quite happy that it isn't as strong attracting is the fact that you've got these 4 shelves. Again, there's positives and negatives to that. Without having the front shelf on here, if the steel was stronger, you could slide your models off and take them off, and in which case having a stronger isn't a problem because you just slide your models off the tray. But as it is, it's got 4 shelves that lock it in place, and that's the way it's been designed. So pros and cons, and obviously preference, it depends what you want personally. Now, you get 3 inside here. There's no way to lock these at the moment, but I'm pretty sure Armybox have already said that they've done some tweaks, so when this comes out on Kickstarter, it won't be an exact copy of this, but it will have some modifications on it, and one of those I think is a way to lock these trays in place, or at least a better version of the shelves. Now, at the moment there isn't any locking in place, so you can see that these do move up and down. Once the front is on this, there's not much movement that it can actually do in terms of coming out from the sides, and especially when you put a bit of cardboard blocking it off there, there's pretty much no movement this way. It's just up and down that you have a little bit of a worry. Now, that can easily be fixed by just a couple of holes on the sides of these shelves and then putting some sort of lock in place so that you can put that where you want to go. Now, there are plenty of slats all the way up the side of here. So if I turn this around, you can actually see that there's plenty of slats up here where you can position the shelves where you want to use it. Now, in terms of the size of this, people are going to be asking me what it can hold. Now, my Moor Crusher takes up just under half this shelf, and only 2/3 widthways as well. So you can fit a lot of stuff in here. For example, my 2,000 point Iron Jaw Army, I can fit the entire thing in this case quite comfortably with space spare. I can fit 20 Ardboys and 10 Brutes and a couple of characters on this one tray. And on the tray below that, I have my 6 Gore Grunters, my Moor Crusher, my Mega Boss, and any other characters that are left over. So on 2 trays, I can fit my 2,000 point Iron Jaw Army, which is brilliant. Now, depending on how high your models are, will determine on how many shelves you can fit in here. So in that sense, I could fit 3 shelves with some more infantry in it. For my Caradron Overlord Army, that's 2,000 points, I can only fit so many ships in. So I've fit all of my infantry on here, and I've shown pictures up on the Facebook page and online where I've got easily 50 to 60 infantry, and that's with some space around them as well. You can easily fit a huge number of infantry on here. However, the bottom part, because the Caradron Overlord ships are tall, they can't fit as many height-wise. So I basically fit all of my ships. Oh, I always put these back wrong. So all of my ships have got this much space, which, that's easily 20 centimeters high. So there's plenty of space to put all of the ships in, and that leaves plenty of room for all of my infantry as well. So I've got 1 tray of infantry, 1 tray of ships, and that's the huge benefit of this case that I've found so far, is the scale of it. It's such a big case that you can fit your bigger monsters in it. And what I've found with cases in the past, although they've been brilliant, is that they're limited to infantry. So I can only really fit infantry. When I get bigger models like the Caradron Overlord ships or the Moor Crusher, they just don't fit. You just can't fit them. So you end up needing to bring another case to put your bigger monsters in. And what I like about this is that you can put all your big monsters in here perfectly fine. Now, there are some extras. There's the instructions for the new Age of Sigmar. There are some extras that this came with, and I don't know what's going to be in all of the Kickstarters. I almost threw these because I just thought it was packing foam, but this is foam with magnets attached to the bottom of it, and there's some different sized versions of this foam. Now, these can be placed, so if you do have a big monster in here, you can obviously place them around it to protect them, but this did come with a magnetic wall as well. So this is for things like, say you've got Nagash, and it's a really, really tall model. So at the moment, I can put this wall up on the side here, so it's magnetized there, and put Nagash on the side of here, and he will basically come lengthways up the case. And then if I want to make sure that he's protected, if I want to put some other monsters in here as well, some other Gribblies with him, I can put this like magnetic foam slider in here, and I can put some more characters down the side of here. I could block off wherever I want. I can just make sure it's padded properly and then go around and put some more miniatures around the outside of there. So the magnetic wall idea is great, especially for the fact that I'm looking at this as a way to transport my big stuff, not just the infantry, but all of the big stuff. And in that sense, it works perfectly. Now, depending on what you're going to be using this for, it will work or it won't work. We've been sent it, to review and to share our thoughts with it. Obviously, I've got my own pros and cons. You will have your own pros and cons, and they will obviously, Armybox will be looking at tweaking things to make it better for the majority of people. So obviously, any feedback, any things that you would like to see in a case, leave it in the comments down below so that we can pass that on. And I'm sure the guys from Armybox will be reading the comments. So please leave your feedback. There's nothing better, there's no way to improve better than having comments and basically working on them. So please leave your feedback on that. I don't know if there's going to be different coloured bags and different coloured shelf options. Maybe you could get these painted, you could paint them yourself. But overall, it's a brilliant case for carrying monsters. The cons for me, let's start with the negatives and then we'll finish on the positive. So the cons for me are the weight. This thing is MDF. It's not made out of steel or aluminium or any of the lighter materials that you do see around. It's made out of MDF. Now, the con of that is that it's obviously quite heavy. Now, it's also, it's not as strong. You have to build this with PVA glue, and it's just not as durable as like a one-piece steel or aluminium frame. However, the pro of that is it's a lot cheaper. This is supposed to be under €100, which is unbelievable really, looking at what are the cases available and the prices for those cases. For under €100, what's that, £75? This is an absolute bargain to keep your army in at home and just to take to tournaments. So that's one of the cons, which actually has a positive because of the relation of price that you're going to be getting from that. The other con for me was literally just the way that you can transport it. Because it is quite heavy, I would have preferred some form of like a rucksack, so some handles that I could put over my shoulders and carry on my back. I'd look like a bit of a geek, but I am a geek, so I'll probably get away with it. And some rucksacks would make it easier to carry this and bear the load on your back rather than just on one shoulder or carrying it quite awkwardly in your hands. So some form of better way to carry it would have been ideal for me. However, the pros for this case over the stuff that I've seen in the past, the scale of it, it can carry the big monsters. There's nothing better than that. The fact that I can put my entire army in this case and not worry about having to bring an extra case or an extra bag, perfect. On that note, the pouches on the side, they're the perfect size for iPads, books. You literally take this one box with you to a tournament and you're good to go. If you're the type of player that keeps an army in a box, you buy one of these boxes for an army, you put the army book in the side of there, you put your special army dice in there, and all of your extra rules and notes and anything you want, and you know that that's locked away and safe. So they're the two big pros for me, the fact that it can hold your entire army and that it can hold all of your stuff as well, which is what you want in a case. At the end of the day, it's nothing fancy and spectacular. You want it to take your models to a tournament or to a place or store them in relative safety, and you want it to store more stuff, and it does those. It ticks the boxes, and with as minimal negatives as possible.
Okay, so after doing a little bit of digging around on the internet, the Armybox have basically been selling these magnetized cases since 2010. So this was on Planet Fantasy. It's one of the early prototypes. They have been making quite a lot of prototypes over the years to try and get to where they are now. You can see this is one of the forums where it was announced and posted. There's been quite a lot of comments on here. There's quite a lot of pages of people asking questions, and even one about is it transportable, you know, on a plane sort of thing. And he's replied with no, basically it's not designed for that. The newer one is still not really designed for transporting on planes, I wouldn't say, just because it's MDF. It's gonna break if you end up taking it on a plane. So I would say it's in exactly the same boat as the old one. There are some really nice designs from here. I like the top of these ones with the magnets on it. You can see that the foam inserts as well on this one has been taken forwards for the latest edition, just in this at the bottom left there. But yeah, there's a lot of work that's been done over the years to get to where they are right now. Yeah, Armybox has been selling them since 2010 on different websites and announced them on the forums. They've been in development for the most recent system since 2015, so it's been at least 3 years in development to get to the stage where they're at now. And this Kickstarter for the new one goes live in July of this year, 2018. So there's going to be different pledges available where you can get 3 and 4 trays. So depending on how many trays you want in there personally, I don't know what the price difference is going to be, but I would probably go for the 4 just so you've got the flexibility. If you've got lots of infantry you want to put in there, you've obviously got the option. But 3 should be more than enough. Like I say, my Karajan army only really uses 2 trays, and same with the Iron Jaws because I've got bigger models in the bottom. But if you've got loads of infantry, then you might want to go for 4 trays. The system's going to be under €100, which I've already said, that's just amazing anyway. It does need building. It is technically a model kit and it will need assembling. And there's going to be 3 add-ons available. That's so far anyway. There's going to be 100 magnets. So the magnets of the right, I think it's 5x2 are the magnets that are recommended. I use 6x2 at the moment, but I might end up dropping down to 5x2. The walls, obviously with the magnets, magnetic strip on the bottom so that you can have your bigger models that are in there and safe. And obviously the actual magnetic wall itself to segment it. And then apparently there is going to be a colour tray. Now I think that must be the shelf that you can maybe get different colours. I don't know whether there's going to be coloured bags with that as well. We'll have to see. So as I said at the beginning of the video, I am going to give you some measurements for the outside of the box. The shelf, obviously I put up earlier when I was talking about that, but it's 275mm depth, 380mm wide and 395mm high. So big box. It feels like it should be bigger than that, as in it feels like the measurements should be bigger numbers because it definitely feels bigger than it actually states, but it's definitely a chunky box. As soon as I get the Kickstarter link and any more information, rather than doing possibly another video, unless we get any other products or a different version of this in the future, if we do get something that's different, then obviously we can do another video on it. But any updates or information I'll include in the description down below. So be sure to just check out that description for any updates, and obviously check the comments because I imagine Armybox will be able to answer any questions or any suggestions or comments. You know, they can reply to it on this actual video itself. So please leave comments down below. Any suggestions or any things that you would like to ask, please ask, and hopefully you'll get the reply and the answer that you're looking for. So that's the end of the video. Hopefully it's been a decent watch for you. Obviously, if you're interested in this sort of thing, it might have put you off buying the case. It might have made you want to buy the case when it comes out. Obviously, it's coming out in Kickstarter in July, so keep an eye out for that. Massive thanks to Armybox for actually sending us one of these to have a look at before it's even going to Kickstarter. We know there's going to be changes going to be done to this, but it's nice that there are companies out there that are willing to send us products. Obviously, we've got Games Workshop sending us the codexes and the big releases now. We've had products from a lot of companies over the year or so that we've been on YouTube, and it's just amazing. So massive thanks to Armybox, and a huge thank you to everyone who has spent the time to watch this video all the way to the end. If you do like the content that we produce, it would be much appreciated if you could click the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything at all. And hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video as well. Put the thumbs down if you didn't enjoy it. And leave a comment for why, whether it was my face or the case, or you just don't like YouTube today. Just leave a comment. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.